Honorable Professor Joyce Ndalichako, Member of Parliament, Minister of Education, Science and Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania, His Excellency the French Ambassador to Tanzania, Frederick Clavier, the President of the Tanzania Academy of Sciences, Professor Esther Mwaikambo, Professor Yusuf Mudabokas, Vice President of the Network of African Science Academies, or Nasac, Professor Catherine Brechnac, Perpetual Secretary of the French Academy of Sciences, the Executive Director of Nasac, or Network of African Science Academies, Madam Jackie Kado, distinguished participants, invited guests, members of the media and the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm the chairperson of this session, the opening session, and my name is Yunus Mgaya. I'm the honorary treasurer of the Tanzania Academy of Sciences, the hosting institution of the conference. Our opening session will start by receiving short welcome remarks, or welcoming remarks, that will be given by Professor Esther Mwaikambo, Dr. Yusuf Mudabokas, Professor Catherine Brechnac. We're going to have a video of Professor Francois Gros, who is from the French Academy of Sciences, who could not join us today. Mrs. Jackie Kado, the Executive Director of Nasac, will give the conference overview. His Excellency, the Ambassador, will also give welcome remarks. Then that will be followed by a bit longer presentation or an opening address from our guest of honor, Honorable Professor Joyce Ndalichako. Then we'll finish our opening session by we'll receive a keynote address from Her Excellency Aisha Ba Diallo, the former chair of FAWE and former Minister of Education in Guinea-Conakry. Our rapporteur for this session is Christian Asema. Now, without much ado, it's my honor and pleasure to welcome Professor Esther Mwaikambo, the President of Tanzania Academy of Sciences, to deliver her welcome remarks.
Honorable Professor Joyce Ndalichako, MP, Minister of Education, Science and Technology of the United Republic of Tanzania, His Excellency Frederick Clavier, Ambassador of France in Tanzania, Distinguished Professor Yusuf Mudabokas, Vice President of the Network of African Science Academies, Distinguished Professor Catherine Brechnac, Secretary Perpetual French Academy of Sciences, Distinguished Mrs. Jackie Kado, Executive Director of the Nasac, Distinguished Professor Yusuf Mgaya, the Chairperson of this session, distinguished participants, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Tanzania Academy of Sciences, I would like to welcome you all, our distinguished guests and participants, to Dar es Salaam, our port of peace, and to this forum on women and sustainable development in Africa. Thank you all for taking time off your very busy schedule to travel such a long distances to come and attend this meeting. Once again, thank you very much. On behalf of the organizers, Nasac, French Academy of Sciences, and Tanzania Academy of Sciences, I would like to extend our special welcome to our guest of honor, Professor Joyce Ndalichako, the Minister of Education, Science, and Technology, and to express our sincere appreciation for her support and acceptance to grace this event. Thank you for accepting our invitation, Madam. It is my pleasure to welcome His Excellency Frederic Clavier, Ambassador of France to Tanzania, to this event. I would also like to recognize all presidents and secretary generals of science academies who are here present with us. Tanzania Academy of Sciences is a learned, independent, and non-for-profit scientific organization that was established on the 24th of February 2004 and registered officially in June 2005 with a mission to promote scientific and technological learning and utilization of scientific and technological knowledge for national socio-economic development. Gathered here today are science academies from all over Africa and beyond, with similar characteristics, history, missions, and goals. Inter-Academy Partnership is an association of science academies in the world. Inter-Academy Partnership, a network of African science academies and science academies, provide policy statements and evidence-based policy advice to nations and regional economic groupings of countries. Together we are here to discuss sustainability and gender issues as they relate to Africa. This forum is expected to end up with a declaration and a policy advice document which can be utilized by African Union and African national governments in this important conference theme. This conference is an opportunity for African science academies to widely inform their nations about themselves as epicenters for promotion and excellence, for promotion of excellence in the advancement and application of science, technology, and innovation for socio-economic development. The conference will be a platform for scientists to dialogue with and provide evidence-based advice to policymakers on the importance of women's participation and inclusion in the national frameworks for realization of the Sustainable Development Goals. In particular, the SDG 5 on gender equality. Women's contribution and leadership is central to achieving sustainable solutions in all developmental challenges, especially so in Africa, where the role of women in development has been neglected. This will be widely publicized and circulated to policy and decision makers throughout Africa. The originality of this approach is to emphasize the role of science in resolving these issues using an African scientist perspective. The conference is expected to showcase how accelerated sustainable development is possible by proactively engaging women in policy and decision-making processes. As well, we are gathered here on this day, which is the date to commemorate the United Nations Women's Day. The Global Gender Gap Report from World Economic Forum 2017 assessed 144 countries on gender parity, looking at economic participation and opportunity, and education attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment. The report found that gender parity might take 170 years or more to close the gap at today's level of progress. And the data shows that the gap is widening. So one can appreciate the United Nations choice of theme for Women's Day for 2018 being Press for Progress, is very timely. This conference is expected to add value to the execution of this theme. A World Bank report defines empowerment as the expansion of freedom of choice and actions and increasing one's authority and control over the resources and decisions that affect one's life. However, in an African environment, women have less opportunities due to restrictive traditions, cultural beliefs and discriminatory laws, lack of ownership of land, unrewarded work at home, child and family social and health care in the domestic environment, which is not paid for, and not having equal decision-making in the family and social institutions. The African Development Bank stated that eliminating gender inequality and empowering women could raise the productive potential of 1 billion Africans, delivering a huge boost to the continent's potential. On the other hand, Africa south of Sahara has 12% of the world's population and 18% of the world's large land surface, but produces only 1.5% of the world's nominal GDP. The population growth is causing a challenge, although it could be viewed as a demographic dividend given the high number of youth. Population growth rate needs control, and stimulation of equitable growth is necessary in order to avoid unskilled and unemployment of youth and social problems associated with that. The conference is also expected to shed some light on this issue, and it is hoped that the conference will provide insights which will lead to the understanding of how to deal with these challenging issues. Ladies and gentlemen, before I leave the podium, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Nasac and French Academy of Sciences for their decision to bring this conference to Tanzania. Our academy feels greatly honored to host this conference, which is unique and one of its own kind in Africa. As well, I wish to thank the sponsors for this forum, including Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who are here with us today, French Embassy in Dar es Salaam, French Development Agency, French Academy of Sciences, Nasac, Inter-Academy Partnership, French Institution for Development Research, the Sanofi Expo Foundation of France, Acacia Mining, Tanzania Commission for Sciences and Technology, Tanzania Communication Regulatory Authority, and many others who, in one way or the other, have made this conference a reality. Thank you all very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks very much, Professor Maikambo. Dr. Yusuf.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Professor Joyce Ndalichako, Minister of Education, Science and Technology, His Excellency Frédéric Clavier, Ambassadeur de France, Distinguished Professor Catherine Bréchignac, Secrétaire perpétuelle de l'Académie des Sciences, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. On behalf of the President of Nasac and on my own behalf, it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you to this important international forum on women and sustainable development. It is indeed an honor to address such a distinguished gathering. Let me, at the very outset, express my deepest appreciation to l'Académie des sciences de la France, l'Agence française pour le développement, l'Institut de recherche pour le développement, Sanofi, I think I should continue in French, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, without whose contribution and assistance it would not have been possible to hold this forum. I wish to extend a special word of thanks to the Tanzania Academy of Sciences, here represented by the chair and Professor Esther Mwaikambo, who have spared no efforts at all to ensure an excellent organization of this event. The issue of gender equity in Africa has been addressed in several major conferences and seminars in the past. As far back as the year 1985, the Third World Conference on Women was held in Nairobi, in Kenya. In 2007, the first Africa Region Conference on Women in Science and Technology was held in Johannesburg, South Africa. During that conference, the low participation of African women in all areas of science, technology, and innovation was stressed, and member states were urged to create programs to promote gender equity in science and technology. In the subsequent annual Ministers' Conference on Science and Technology, known as AMCOST 3, which was held in Mombasa, Kenya again, in the same year, 2007, the stakeholders from national, regional, and international institutions adopted an ambitious resolution to secure gender mainstreaming in science and technology. In fact, Nasac also has been very much involved in raising awareness about the necessity to achieve gender equity. At an important workshop entitled Mainstreaming Gender in Science Education, held in Nairobi in May 2015, less than 2 years ago, a number of recommendations were made to achieve gender equity in science education as an important step towards the involvement of more women in the development process. I am particularly pleased to note that this forum is addressing the issue of women and sustainable development. In that context, I would like to mention that the Inter-Academy panel, Inter-Academy Partnership now, IAP, has recently instituted a Science for Poverty Eradication Committee, what is commonly known as IAP SPEC, with 2 representatives from each of the 4 regional networks of science academies. Nasac is represented on IAP SPEC by Professor Micheka from Kenya and myself, and we are supposed to tackle SDG 1 and SDG 10. SDG 1, science, is about ending poverty in all its forms everywhere. And SDG 10 is about reducing inequality within and amongst countries. So we had our first meeting in Beijing, China, where a number of resolutions were adopted. It has been stressed that poverty affects women more than men, in the sense that if you have a lack of potable water, it's the women who goes to the wells or the source of water, to carry the water. If it's a question of energy, it's the women normally who carries the wood from the forest for cooking purposes. So the question of equality with regard to poverty alleviation, a special attention is given to women. Ladies and gentlemen, the most pressing challenges of our time affect women more than men. However, it is equally true that women are endowed with specific qualities to find appropriate solutions to these challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the 8th of March, Women's Day. And I wish to take this opportunity to extend my warm wishes to all women participants in this room. At the same time, I apologize to the women who are working very hard today on this auspicious day because of us. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a lot of expectations regarding the recommendations and outcome of this forum. But I'm sure that with the expertise present in this room, our expectations will be met. I wish you a very successful and fruitful deliberation. Thank you for your attention.
Our next speaker is the French Academy Virtual Secretary, Professor Catherine Brechnack.
Je vais parler en français.
So I apologize for the English.
I will speak in.
Madame le ministre de l'Éducation,
Minister
Madame
of Education,
the Minister of Education of Guinea-Conakry, Monsieur
former Minister of
l'ambassadeur de
Guinea-Conakry,
France,
the French
chers
ambassador,
chers amis,
dear
bonjour.
friends, dear brothers and sisters, good morning.
Les femmes
Women
portent en elles la moitié
carry
de
with
l'intelligence
them
de l'humanité
half of
et les hommes
humanity,
l'autre moitié.
and men carry half of
Et
it.
c'est ensemble que
It
nous
is
devons
together
envisager
that we
l'avenir.
need to design our future.
Nous vivons un moment
We are living
indéniablement
in a
singulier
time
de notre histoire.
that is very special in our
Engendré par
history,
une démographie dont la croissance
given
est sans
the
précédent
population
et par une
growth
expansion
that has never
considérable de
been
la
seen.
somme des
We
connaissances
need to look
scientifiques.
at the scientific knowledge that we
L'équilibre de
have.
la planète s'en trouve perturbé.
The balance of the
De
planet
surcroît,
has been disturbed,
l'hyperconnexion entre
and
les
the
hommes
connection
et les femmes
between
naturellement,
men
entraîne
and
une
women
communication trop
means
souvent
that
erratique.
there's an erratic communication between the two. A little bit of
Au
history.
commencement de l'agriculture, vers
When-
8000 ans avant notre ère, la
When we started,
population
when agriculture
mondiale ne
began,
dépassait
the
pas
population
5
of the world was not
Elle a
even
cru
5 billion.
lentement
It
au cours des
grew
siècles,
slowly by
pour
slowly
atteindre
through the
650 millions au
centuries
milieu du
to be
18e
about
siècle. Elle a
650
dépassé
million,
le milliard au 19e
and it
siècle.
was
Et
a
aujourd'hui, nous
billion
sommes
on
entre
17th
7 et 8
century,
milliards.
and today we are between 7
De
and
son
8
côté,
billion.
la démarche scientifique
On the
commence
other
dans un
hand,
passé lointain, la
scientific
nuit, par l'observation des astres.
scientific
Les hommes,
research
peu nombreux à
continues.
l'époque,
The
scrutaient
men
le ciel pour
were
pénétrer ces
few,
mystères.
and we are trying to
Au
look
temps de la
into the
Grèce
mysteries
antique,
of
les théories
sciences.
rationnelles émergent, mais c'est avec Galilée, au
And
début
with
du
Galileo,
XVIIe siècle seulement,
In the
que la
17th
démarche
century, we
scientifique
started to
prend
look
son
into
essor avec la
scientific
confrontation
development
théorie-expérience.
with several scientific
Depuis cette date,
experiences.
la progression
From
de la
this
connaissance ne fait
date, the
que
progression
s'accélérer.
of knowledge
Et aujourd'hui,
began
elle nous
quickly.
permet
And today,
d'explorer le
science
monde
allows
quantique,
us
de
to look
fabriquer des ordinateurs, des téléphones portables
into-
en utilisant ses propriétés,
into
de détecter
fabricating
les ondes gravitationnelles
mobile
qui agissent sur
phones,
la Terre en déformant
and we're
l'espace,
able to combat
d'aborder les
gravity.
mécanismes
We've come
complexes,
up
en
with
particulier
complex
ceux du vivant,
mechanisms
et elle nous
that
fournit
are
un
helping
nombre de
us,
données
and this has
croissant
given us
que
a
nous
lot
devons
of data
analyser à une
that we
vitesse
need to
grandissante.
analyze very, very quickly.
L'univers de la science
The universe of
reste
science
cependant l'apanage d'un nombre restreint de
is still
personnes.
restricted
Cette
in the
double
number of people working
croissance
it.
de la
This double
population
growth
et
of
des savoirs
population
scientifiques
and scientific
engendre par son
knowledge
caractère hétérogène une fracture qui
has
se
led
creuse
to
entre ceux qui savent ou
a
s'efforcent de
divide
savoir
between
et
those who
ceux qui
know
ne parviennent pas à
and those who
savoir
are not able to know,
parce qu'ils n'en ont pas appris les bases
because
nécessaires
they did not
ou
have
parce qu'ils
the
n'en ont pas
necessary
le temps
base, or maybe they did not
concentré
have
qu'ils
the
sont
time
à la lutte pour leur
to
survie. De nos jours
learn.
encore, un cinquième
Today,
de la population
a fifth of
adulte
the
mondiale
population,
est
of the
analphabète,
adult
et les
population
illettrés qui savent
remains
à peine lire et écrire sont encore plus nombreux.
remains illiterate.
Cette distorsion
And this
crée des
distortion
conditions d'une
has
incompréhension
created-
profonde entre les sociétés et
Has
leurs
created
scientifiques,
a lot of
ainsi
imbalance
qu'entre les
in the
sociétés
world
elles-mêmes.
between the society itself.
Elle pose sous
And
un angle
this
nouveau la
creates
question de
in a new angle
l'acceptabilité
the question
citoyenne à la connaissance et à ses
citizens
implications
who are
et à
who do
celle
not
de
have the knowledge,
l'appropriation d'un savoir
and
de
there's a
plus en plus
question of ownership
sophistiqué
of
dans une
knowledge which is more
démographie
and more
hétérogène.
complicated in
Cette double croissance à la
this
fois de la
double growth
population et des savoirs
of the
acquis
population
par
and the
certains
knowledge by
conduit
others
à un
has
hiatus
led
qui met en
to
jeu
a hiatus which
la
is
démographie,
which
la
questions
génomique et les
demography and scientific
Depuis peu
growth.
sont nées les technologies dites de ciseaux moléculaires qui permettent
Molecular
d'intervenir sur l'ADN,
knowledge
d'en
has
réparer
led
le
us to
génome,
know
voire de le reprogrammer,
into
et bientôt
DNA,
on pourra
and
changer
very
notre
soon we are
couleur de
going
peau.
to change our skin color.
Si le changement d'un organe
If
défectueux
the
par une
change
réparation du
of
génome
an
est une
organ,
chose, la
if we can
modification
change
du
organs,
patrimoine
if we can
génétique de l'homme en est une autre.
modify genetic
Le premier
structure
ne
of the
se
human
transmet
being,
pas. En revanche, la seconde modifie notre
need
hérédité et nous
to-
échappe.
we are
devient
still
alors
not able to understand our
indispensable
hereditary.
de penser notre
So we
avenir
need to think
en
about our
régulant
future
démographie et
by
génomique.
regulating
Avant
our
que ne se
demographic
propage à
growth.
grande échelle sur la planète le
Before-
rêve de l'augmenter pour certains qui pourrait se transformer
So we
en
need
désastre
to-
pour tous.
To regulate this before it becomes a disaster
L'enjeu
for
consiste
everyone.
donc à stabiliser
The
la
challenge,
croissance
therefore, is to
démographique et à trouver
stabilize
comment nous pouvons
population growth
réguler
and find how
collectivement
we can
notre relation
together
à la connaissance d'une part et à
regulate
son utilisation d'autre part.
our knowledge
Cela
and
se
population
traduit
growth.
par l'impérieuse
This is
nécessité
translated
de réinvestir le champ
to
de la transmission des savoirs par l'éducation et la formation,
to invest
ce
more
qui
in
demande aux
education,
sociétés de
which
s'approprier les avancées
requires that
scientifiques.
populations need to
qui
own
se
scientific knowledge
l'approprierait
because it is the
pas
society.
la science ou qui se l'approprierait mal est une société
Because the
qui
society
serait
which
d'autant
does
plus
not own its
tentée de
own
l'expulser hors de ses murs.
Is going to go
Les obscurantismes ont la vie dure. Ils ne sont jamais exclusivement les fruits morts
has
d'un
never
passé
been,
révolu. Ils peuvent
in
toujours
such
se
a problem as
réveiller
it is
à tout
today.
moment.
We need to wake up.
Munis des savoirs acquis, leur
Knowing,
utilisation
having all
pourra
this
alors
knowledge,
servir au développement durable,
need to
c'est-à-dire
work towards
à un
sustainable
développement
development.
qui
That
répond
means a
aux
development
besoins
which
du présent
responds to the
sans
needs of the
compromettre
present
la
without
capacité des
compromising
générations
the
futures à
capacity of the
répondre aux
future
leurs.
generations.
Les femmes ont à mon
Women,
sens toute leur
In my
place dans un
opinion,
tel débat.
have their place in this debate.
Ce forum,
This forum
les femmes et le développement durable en
on
Afrique,
women and
est un
sustainable
forum de
development.
réflexion.
Women is a forum for
Il est
reflection.
co-organisé par le
It has
Nasac,
been
l'Académie
co-organized by
des sciences de
Nasac, the
Tanzanie
Academy,
et l'Académie des
the
sciences de
network, the
France.
Tanzanian Academy of Sciences and the French
Il a
Academy of
été
Sciences.
soutenu très
It has
fortement
been
par la
supported
Fondation Bill
by
Gates et la
the Bill and
Fondation
Melinda Gates
Sanofi,
Foundation and the Sanofi
l'AFD,
Foundation,
que je
AFD,
remercie
that
particulièrement.
I greatly thank.
Mais c'est aussi beaucoup à
But
nos
it's
équipes que
also
nous avons pu
our
l'organiser.
teams that were able
Et je
to
voudrais dire un
organize
grand
this that I would
merci à
like to
Jackie
thank. I
Cadeau,
would like
la
to thank
directrice
Jacqueline
exécutive du
Tado,
Nasac,
the executive
que je vous
director
prie
of
d'applaudir.
Nasac, that I would like you to applaud.
Thank you very much. Just a quick announcement. For the use of the headphones, English channel 1, French channel 2, and we recommend that you keep your headphones on for better sound. Thank you. Our next presentation is a video. It's a video that will be shown. It's a short video by Professor Francois Gros, who could not be with us today.
tout, je voudrais très simplement vous dire ma sympathie profonde pour l'Afrique, pour le peuple africain. Héritage sans doute de mon passé à l'Institut Pasteur, qui m'a amené sur le continent de façon assez fréquente. Mais je veux surtout saluer au début le professeur Moustapha Bousmina, comme vous le savez, le président du Nasac, le fameux réseau africain des académies des sciences. Et vous dire combien, en fait, l'Académie des sciences est heureuse, fière d'avoir pu travailler avec les membres de ce réseau. Le Nasac, ce réseau, est un atout pour l'Afrique. C'est probablement ce qui constitue le socle le plus solide si l'on cherche à entrevoir l'avenir du développement de ce grand continent. Jeune, la jeunesse si importante, laquelle justement est avide, à juste titre, de jouer son rôle dans le monde d'aujourd'hui et de demain. Le thème qui réunit aujourd'hui ce grand forum, malheureusement auquel je ne peux assister, soulève en fait, ou relève plus exactement d'un problème qui compte parmi les questions les plus importantes du XXIe siècle, à savoir comment, en quelque sorte, abolir les inégalités qui frappent encore nombre de femmes de par le monde, qui obèrent leur statut légal, et pour certaines d'entre elles qui atteignent en quelque sorte leur vie courante, leur vie familiale, leur vie en tant qu'individu. Ces inégalités sont trop souvent le résultat, le reflet de conceptions, voire de traditions tout à fait anciennes, certes, mais dépassées. Dépassées justement dans le concept mondial aujourd'hui de progrès, fondé pour une large part sur l'éducation. Éducation scientifique, mais également éducation culturelle, éducation même politique. Je pense, pour ma part, que abolir justement ces inégalités, revenir sur un statut légal qui leur donne exactement les pouvoirs nécessaires, c'est une question aujourd'hui dans le cadre de la modernité, mais sur un plan même universel. C'est une question, en quelque sorte, de dignité humaine. Il y a des pays dans lesquels ces progrès sont déjà fortement, comment dirais-je, instaurés, entamés, mais il y en a d'autres dans lesquels il reste beaucoup à faire, pas seulement en Afrique, bien sûr, et c'est la raison pour laquelle cette solidarité que l'on sent justement parmi les participants du colloque de Dar es Salaam est absolument capitale et importante, et on peut vraiment espérer qu'elle s'inscrira dans les recommandations et, si possible, dans les décisions qui vont, nous l'espérons, survenir après ce très grand colloque. Je vous remercie.
Your Excellencies, the Minister of Education, Science and Technology of Science and Technology of Tanzania, the Honorable French Ambassador to Tanzania, my Vice President, Yusuf Mudabakas, the Foreign Secretary of the French Academy of Sciences, Professor Catherine Brishignac, and the President of the Tanzanian Academy of Sciences, Madam Esther Mwaikambo. Ladies and gentlemen, and all protocols observed. In giving the conference overview, a story is told of a religious leader who went around performing miracles, healing the sick, making the lame walk, doing all manner of good deeds, but the followers just did not believe him. So I'm asking, in telling you or in understanding the overview of the conference, I started by asking, why are we here? And then I started by telling you a story of a religious leader who went around doing good deeds and all manner of miracles, making the lame walk, performing miracles, the sick were healed. And then he was overwhelmed by the multitude of people who came to see him. And then he asked them, because they were still not believing in his message, so he asked them, why did you come? Why are you here? So in that same breath, I turned the question to you and I posed the same question and asked, why did you come? What brought you here? Why are you here? Is it the invitation of the esteemed Academy of Sciences of Tanzania that brought you here? Or probably the flamboyance of the African women just thinking about discussing women and sustainable development? What about the proximity of Zanzibar to Dar es Salaam? Would that a tourist site bring you here anyway? What about the culture and the cuisine of the Tanzanian people? But better still, what about the thought of rubbing shoulders with Bill and Melinda Gates, who has been announced as the sponsors of this event? Then I go on to ask then, think about why we're here, is where did all this start? How did we reach here, where we are today? So I start by saying that 2 years ago, we had a dream. The Network of African Science Academies and the French Academy of Sciences dared to dream. In our dream, we envisioned an African continent where the participation and the inclusion of women in shaping the development agenda was actually the norm, and it is our reality. We also thought of ourselves that gender equity is a right, and therefore we were amazed that our dream literally left us with more questions than answers. How do we realize such an ambitious dream? Whom do we turn to for help? But most importantly, where do we even start? So we decided, let's think about starting at an international forum. We called it forum and not conference, simply because we need to harvest ideas and views on the topic, not just discuss about it. We also ensured that it is going to be a conference about women and not for women, to give an opportunity for the men to be at the table and discuss these pertinent issues so that we can begin to see the change we want. We also ensured that we roped in our governance structures, the board, the Nasac board, and the General Assembly to buy into this dream, and we ended up with a host as the Tanzania Academy of Sciences. We also had a Women for Science working group that worked tirelessly to explore ways and avenues of getting the story out of women scientists that have gone out of their way above and beyond their call of duty to really make a niche and ensure that the realities of the innovations we see today of science become real. We ended up with a book, a publication that we called Women for Science, Inspiring Stories for Africa. The idea of such a book was that we should narrate the stories of women scientists with a human face, not just the innovation, not just the challenges, but the aspiration of those stories and where they excelled. We ensured that in so doing, we got many young girls to be able to believe in science as a professional career, but also the young scientists not to give up, that there is hope at the end of the tunnel. Who joined us then for this great and important dream? One day last year, when we were at a discussion with the French Development Agency, they actually introduced us to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Thereafter, the Sanofi Foundation, Sanofi Aspire Foundation, and the Institute of Research and Sustainable Development also became interested. And finally, the Inter-Academy Partnership came on board. At the end tail of all this envision and dreaming and thinking about what we need to do, we also got the French embassy in Tanzania involved and interested in supporting us, the Acacian Mining, based here in Tanzania, the Tanzanian Communication Regulatory Commission, as well as COSTECH, which is the Tanzanian Commission for Science and Technology. And as they say, the rest is history. We are here today, and we form a formidable partnership that wants to champion the cause of women and sustainable development in this international forum. So where are we going? Where do we want to be several years from now? The International Forum, as you can see in your program, is divided into 6 distinct sessions. It has, as it is highlighted in your program, after this opening session, you'll get to hear an inspiring keynote speaker talking about what can Africa do differently if we were to reach 2030, if we were to deliver the 2030 agenda for the continent. Then we expect also presentations and panel discussions on equally pertinent topics. Session 2 looks at various aspects of the demographic dividend, ending with a panel discussion on the generation that could transform Africa has already been born. That ends up our day one of this international forum. So you will see we've tried to make it easy on the first day, especially for our participants that are coming from far, but to enable us enjoy a little bit of Tanzania in the process. We will conclude the evening by a social event and with a cocktail reception at the end of the day, just to relax and have a good time and network with fellow participants. On day 2, on the other hand, we get to listen to our partners and then delve into the value of education and advocacy before we engage with the media on debunking the social myths that come around the value of educating girls and women and involving them in the development agenda. Day 2 happens to be the longest one, so you'd have to persevere with us because you're having it easy today, and then it's going to get harder tomorrow and easier the day after. And then after that, we have a social event also that will get us into a dinner, a group dinner that will enable us to network further with each other. The last day, which is our shortest day, we will start with a closing keynote on mainstreaming gender in Africa's policy making to deliver an Agenda 2030, and then followed by discussions on the proceedings of the last 2 days, or 2.5 days therefrom, and then the declaration, and before that we get the closing remark. In terms of participants, this international forum not only provides us with the best brains on the continent for this topic, but it also presents us with an opportunity to change the course of history in the development of Africa. We have a chance to hear voices of science amidst the many voices that we get to hear in this topic, and you just heard from the first speaker of how many conferences have been held on women. But then also to dialogue with policymakers, to get them to also talk with communities that are at the grassroots of getting this change we want to see. Through the provision of evidence-based or evidence-informed policy advice from the science academies. It is for that reason that academies exist, and it is for that reason that we exist as a network. So I will conclude my remarks by reverting back to the first question I asked. Why are we here? Why are you here? Well, I dare say that you are here because your voice counts. You are here because your sphere of influence matters. You are here because your scope of experiences counts and will deliver on the actions we intend to build on thereafter. You are here because gender parity and gender equality will forever remain a pipe dream if your action in your corner and in your spheres do not change. So you're here because we want that change to begin with you. That you will help us as a network, as a collection of scientists that want to inject science into policy making, be able to see that first step of ensuring that women are involved, are included in decision-making processes of the continent. So this conference really, and as your document says, it is the first step of a journey that will see us into balanced development. And then we also believe that the acceleration of realizing the Agenda 2030 as is set globally by the SDGs through Africa is actually possible by our presence at this international forum. Collectively, we become a force to reckon with, and then as we end up saying in our many deliberations that it is up to you and I to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yaki. Now, before I invite His Excellency, the French Ambassador, I would like to invite the President of Tanzania Academy of Sciences for a very short announcement, Madam Professor.
Yeah, I realize that there are many dignitaries in this meeting of whom I would like to recognize their presence. But specifically, I would like to mention a few names of some distinguished people from Tanzania. And I start with recognizing the presence of our role model, Mama Anna Makinda, the former Speaker of the United Republic of Tanzania for several years in the past. Can you stand up and wave to the meeting, please? Thank you very much for being here. I also want to recognize the presence here of Professor Faustin Kamuzora, the Permanent Secretary of Policy and Planning in the Prime Minister's Office. He's also a fellow. Thank you very much for your presence. And the third person I would like to recognize is Mama Kairuki, Kokushubila Kairuki. She is the founder of the Hubert Kairuki Memorial University and the Kairuki University. Thank you all very much for being here, and I recognize the presence of everybody in this hall. Thank you all very much. That's all.
It's now my honor and pleasure to welcome the French Ambassador to Tanzania, Mr. Frederick Clavier, to give his welcome remarks.
Madame la ministre de l'Éducation nationale, professeur Joyce Ndalichako, Madame la présidente de l'Académie des sciences de Tanzanie, Monsieur le vice-président du réseau des académies de France, des académies des sciences africaines, Mesdames les secrétaires perpétuels de l'Académie des sciences de France, Madame la directrice de l'Institut de recherche et de développement, Mesdames et Messieurs les académiciens, vice-chanceliers et recteurs, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs, mes chers amis, c'est un très grand honneur et très grand plaisir pour moi, au nom de la France, d'avoir l'occasion de prendre la parole ce matin devant un aéropage de très haut niveau venu de toutes les régions de l'Afrique et de France. Bien des choses ont été dites quant à l'objet de cette conférence qui vous réunit aujourd'hui et qui vont vous servir de fil directeur à vos travaux. Madame la ministre, être à vos côtés ce matin pour mon pays, c'est un agréable privilège. C'est un privilège parce que les sciences sont au cœur du développement de l'Afrique. Et par conséquent, la France, avec d'autres, accorde une place toute particulière à la coopération universitaire et scientifique. Et en ce sens, la place des femmes dans la mise en œuvre des objectifs du développement durable des Nations Unies est essentielle. Et je crois que vos travaux le montreront très prochainement, dans les prochaines heures. Les femmes sont au cœur de votre sujet aussi. Ici en Tanzanie, 4% environ d'une classe d'âge accèdent à l'enseignement supérieur en Tanzanie et la proportion de femmes arrive à peine à 35%, alors que la parité est atteinte à d'autres niveaux du système. Le gouvernement tanzanien, et je tiens à le saluer et le féliciter, fournit des efforts significatifs. Et il nous incombe à nous de les accompagner à mesure de nos moyens. Coopérer, bien entendu, c'est faire ensemble, à tous les niveaux et en réunissant des acteurs différents et complémentaires. Les académies des sciences ont su se mettre en réseau au Sud, mais aussi en lien étroit avec d'autres institutions, dont l'Académie des sciences. Et je tiens à saluer ici tous les représentants de haut niveau, que ce soit la Fondation Bill et Melinda Gates, la Fondation Sanofi, l'Institut de recherche pour le développement, l'Agence française de développement. Je suis heureux de voir une telle mobilisation publique et privée. Et je salue particulièrement tous ceux qui, aux côtés de ces institutions, avec l'appui notamment de la France, apportent à la fois un soutien financier, une contribution intellectuelle à ces travaux, avec leurs collègues du continent africain et d'abord la Tanzanie. La mobilisation doit se traduire par des engagements concrets. C'est ce qu'a fait le président de la République française, Emmanuel Macron. Le temps ne me permet pas de les citer tous, mais je mentionnerai notamment la mise en place progressive de visas de circulation pour les étudiants africains diplômés en France et les passeports de talent pour les chercheurs et les professeurs. La France a vocation à mieux faire connaître son offre d'enseignement supérieur et notamment pour tordre le cou à certaines idées reçues qui disent qu'on ne peut pas étudier en France si on ne maîtrise pas la langue française, ce qui n'est pas vrai puisque beaucoup de nos établissements proposent des cursus en langue anglaise avec un apprentissage renforcé de la langue française. Et ici, pour la Tanzanie, mais au-delà sur le continent africain, la France est décidée à engager un partenariat universitaire de long terme qui puisse procéder par choix d'ensemble disciplinaire bien défini à assurer le développement intellectuel de nos pays respectifs. Faire entrer la France sur l'écran radar ici en Tanzanie des étudiants tanzaniens, voilà un enjeu commun que nous allons avoir la semaine prochaine avec une grande mission universitaire française conduite par Campus France, qui est l'opérateur en matière d'attractivité de l'enseignement supérieur, qui présentera ce que peuvent être les perspectives de coopération entre la France et la Tanzanie, mais au-delà de la Tanzanie, le continent africain. La France est décidée à attribuer, là où elle le peut, des bourses au niveau des masters et des doctorats en menant une politique volontariste de promotion des candidatures féminines dans les secteurs scientifiques. Le développement de partenariats universitaires et, si possible, de double diplôme à terme pourront être, Madame la Ministre, des objectifs communs. Nous avons également prévu ici d'aider au renforcement des capacités de plusieurs universités tanzaniennes, notamment à travers la formation complémentaire des enseignants, car il existe plusieurs filières clés pour le développement où il n'est pas encore possible d'ouvrir des masters faute de remplir les critères d'encadrement requis, et nous devons œuvrer en parallèle à cette mobilité étudiante entre la France et l'Afrique, entre la France et la Tanzanie, qui permettent notamment ici d'accueillir plus d'étudiants français en Tanzanie, comme il est de bonne politique de pouvoir accueillir plus d'étudiants tanzaniens en France afin de créer les ponts intellectuels utiles pour nos pays. Dans le domaine de la recherche, je tiens à saluer ici la présence dans la salle de la Commission for Science and Technology et de l'Institut français pour la recherche du développement. Nous œuvrons à la préparation d'un accord de coopération qui permettra aux instituts qui sont basés à Nairobi d'avoir une présence régulière sur le territoire tanzanien, tout en apportant notre concours à la mise en œuvre du programme African Research Council, qui est une importante initiative commune avec l'Union européenne. Pour clore mon propos, vous me permettrez, Madame la Ministre et chers collègues, un plaidoyer pour le multilinguisme et pour le renforcement de la place du français dans le système éducatif tanzanien. Le français est utilisé par 2 pays frontaliers et par un tiers des pays du continent, dont beaucoup sont présents ici et que je salue. C'est une des langues de l'Union africaine et 83 pays dans le monde sont membres ou observateurs de l'Organisation internationale de la francophonie. Permettre aux jeunes Africains et ici aux jeunes Tanzaniens de maîtriser cette langue, c'est un moyen d'améliorer leur employabilité à l'international, dans le privé comme dans les instances politiques, et donc un moyen pour les pays d'Afrique et notamment pour la Tanzanie d'accroître son influence. Nous aurons sans doute l'occasion d'étudier ensemble les modalités de cette coopération, mais les académiciens ici présents savent combien il est important de maintenir des canaux de publication dans des revues scientifiques en diverses langues, sauf à accepter une uniformisation qui nous condamnerait inévitablement à renoncer à une partie de nos identités respectives qu'il importe de préserver. La défense de l'identité culturelle est un combat de chacune et de chacun d'entre nous. Mesdames et messieurs les académiciens, Madame la Ministre, je souhaite à vos travaux tout le succès que vous pouvez en espérer. Je peux vous assurer que les conclusions qui en seront données seront tenues dans une haute estime par le gouvernement de la République française. Vive la Tanzanie, vive la science, vive le progrès et vive l'Afrique. Merci, mesdames et messieurs.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. It's now my singular honor and pleasure to welcome the Minister, but before I do that, Honorable Professor Joyce Ndalichako is a Member of Parliament and our Minister of Education, Science and Technology. Professor Ndalichako is a former Executive Secretary of the National Examinations Council of Tanzania, or NECTA. Her fields of expertise include mathematics, statistics, and education. So she's a numbers person. Madam Minister, you are most welcome to deliver the opening speech. Thank you.
Your Excellency Frederick Cleaver, Ambassador of France to Tanzania, Distinguished Professor Esther Mwaikambo, President of Tanzania Academy of Sciences, Distinguished Iron Lady, Honorable Anna Makinda, the retired Speaker of United Republic of Tanzania. We are very humbled to have you in this forum. distinguished Dr. Yusuf Modobakas, Vice President of Network of African Sciences Academies, distinguished Professor Catherine Breishag, Secretary French Academy of Sciences. You will excuse my French. I'm very pleased that the ambassador has said that he's going to strengthen French language, and I can guarantee that I'll be the first student to attend that class so that I can improve my French. Distinguished Professor Raj Allowed, Inter-Academy Panel, member of East African, EU Committee and Inter-Academy Panel Partnership, IAP. Professor Faustine Kamuzora, Permanent Secretary in the Prime Minister's Office. Professor Yunus Mgaya, the chair of this session. Distinguished Mrs. Jackie Kado, Executive Director of Network of Academy of Science, and we are very pleased for that great overview that you presented with the real enthusiasm. Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, distinguished scientists, all protocols observed, good morning. On behalf of His Excellency, Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you all to Tanzania, and particularly to Dar es Salaam. I would wish to express my sincere appreciation to the organizers of this forum for choosing Tanzania to be the venue of this international forum. Thank you very much for the honor that you have accorded to the country, and it's my sincere hope that you'll find your stay in Tanzania enjoyable and memorable. Please take time to visit the beautiful sites that we have in the country. Don't miss this opportunity. Distinguished participants, the theme of your international forum is Women and Sustainable Development in Africa. I would like to congratulate the organizers again of this forum for choosing this particular theme, especially that it reminds us that women have a responsibility towards the attainment of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals in Africa. With the support of our countries, it is possible for women to have a very remarkable contribution. We all know that our countries have made bold commitments towards implementing the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and have actually been taking various measures to implement them. Tanzania, for example, all the government ministries are working in a coordinated manner to ensure that the Sustainable Development Goals are implemented. And I can proudly say that in education, we have made achievements towards implementation. I mean, generally, we have made good progress in all the spheres, and particularly in education, we have seen increased enrollment of students because of free education policy for basic education, and also concerted efforts are being made by the government to ensure that the quality of education is improved through various efforts, including improving training of our teachers, improving provision of quality teaching and learning materials, in service training for teachers, especially teachers who are taking care of students with special needs, improving pupils-teachers ratio through deployment of more teachers as needed, and also improving classroom pupils ratio through construction of classrooms and the construction of new schools. This is just to say a few as far as the basic education is concerned, but also efforts are made to ensure that higher education is also improved in all the spheres. And again, I'm very pleased to hear that His Excellency, the Ambassador of France to Tanzania, is coming with a package to work together with the government of Tanzania to ensure that higher education is improved, and we strengthen the collaboration between our two countries. So the team that is planning to come, I think between 12th to 14th of March, is warmly welcome. We all know that education is key for development and also is central for the implementation of sustainable development goals. Education is key because it opens the door towards eradicating poverty, towards ending hunger, and towards gender equality. Chairperson, distinguished participants, in the past, we all know that most societies, actually globally, tended to treat women inequitably in many related development-related matters. So we witnessed in many communities, girls were not given equal opportunities to education. Parents tended to invest more in education of their sons than their daughters, and we saw they saw girls as the backbone to the family support through household duties, and I'm very pleased that Professor Yusuf well articulated these challenges. And unfortunately, in some cases, girls were even viewed as commodities to attract dowry, and this encouraged early marriages for girls and denied their rights to education. Also, in Africa, where agriculture has been the main source of family income, especially in rural areas, farming is still largely in the hands of women, while ownership of land is still predominantly by men. In Tanzania, the government has done commendable efforts and work to change this scenario, though in some communities, still the traditional beliefs, they feel that women should not be owning land. So we have done progress, but we still have some more work to do to ensure that also women are enjoying the natural resources in their countries. In the field of engineering, medicine, manufacturing industry, information technology, management, administration, and top leadership positions, with a few exceptions, we have seen predominantly the positions have been in the hands of men. I'm pleased that this trend is continuing to changing. In some countries, we have even seen, for example, Liberia, Malawi, Mauritius, where even the heads of states have been female heads. And also, we are very privileged in our country. The the Vice President of United Republic of Tanzania, Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan, is the first woman to be the Vice President. So we are very pleased that the role and the contribution of women is continuing to be realized. And as I mentioned, we have an iron lady here, the former Speaker of the Parliament of United Republic of Tanzania. She was really strong. She was really tough. So show that women are also capable of making contributions for sustainable development in African countries. And I'm also pleased that even myself, speaking in front of you, I'm a female minister. So thanks to the government for recognizing our potential. And I can tell you, all female or women ministers are doing a great job. Rounds of applause to them. We are doing a great job. So, what remains now for all women in Tanzania, in Africa, and all over the world? We need to work very hard so that our potential and our contribution can be seen and can continue to be appreciated. Chairperson, distinguished participants, the government of United Republic of Tanzania is strongly committed towards the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals in collaboration with the academia, public and private sector. We really encourage partnership with the public sector, development partners, civil society, and other stakeholders in ensuring that we achieve as we have committed ourselves. And the government recognizes the importance and role of women in science and technology, research and development, and other related fields in driving education and healthcare. And no wonder the education ministry, the health ministry is led by, these two ministries are led by women, because the government know how committed women are in taking care of such important and delegate ministries. Also, the government recognizes the role of women in agricultural development, industrialization agenda that will lead to the delivery of the key sustainable development goals, especially to achieve inclusive economic economic development objectives and improving the quality of life and well-being of all Tanzanians. Distinguished delegates, you can see in the program, I'm the 7th speaker and we have another one to come. So today I decided that my remarks will be very short so that we can have time for keynote address, because I'm sure the keynote address will be loaded by very strong and key messages for this international forum. I believe that the various papers that will be presented and discussed will shed further light on the subject and further catalyze our collective success in implementation of sustainable development goals. And I sincerely hope that you'll come up with recommendations that will accelerate government efforts to bring sustainable development to our citizens. I'm therefore looking forward to receiving a copy of your important resolutions and also a copy of the published proceedings of the forum. Once again, thanks to the Ambassador of France, Honorable Ambassador of France to Tanzania, for very promising collaboration and the commitment to work with the government of Tanzania to further development of our two countries. With these remarks, I now have a distinct honor and pleasure to declare that the International Forum on Women and Sustainable Development in Africa officially open. Thank you very much. Because we have translation in only 2 languages, I will briefly say in Kiswahili what I've just said. Leo tunafahamu kwamba ni siku ya wanawake duniani, na nimepata bahati ya kuwa na watu mbalimbali kutoka nchi mbalimbali ambao wamekuja katika mkutano wa kimataifa ambao lengo lake ni kuangalia mchango wa wanawake katika maendeleo endelevu. Na kwa hiyo tunashukuru kwamba mchango wa wanawake katika Afrika umeendelea kuthaminiwa, na wanawake ambao wamepata nafasi za kushika wamepata nafasi ya kupata nafasi mbalimbali za kutumikia taifa au kwa nyanja mbalimbali za uongozi wamekuwa wakifanya vizuri. Na ndio maana leo nimefurahi sana kumuona mama yangu, dada yangu, Mheshimiwa Ana Makinda ambaye alikuwa ni spika wa Bunge la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, na wote tunatambua mchango mkubwa. Lakini tunajivunia pia kama Tanzania kwamba makamu wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, mama yetu Mheshimiwa Samia Suluhu Hassan, ni mama shupavu, ni mama mchapakazi, anafanya kazi nzuri sana, na kwa kweli tunajivunia kwa kazi yake nzuri ambayo anaifanya. Lakini pia tunapenda kutoa shukrani kwa serikali kwa kutambua mchango wa wanawake, na ndio maana hata mimi nimesimama hapa kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Rais aliona kwamba wanawake pia wanaweza kumsaidia kwenye baraza lake la mawaziri. Unaona tunao kwenye Wizara ya Nishati, Wizara ya Afya, tunaye mama yetu Jenista Mwagama ambaye anapambana hata kule bungeni na anaangalia mambo mbalimbali, lakini pia tuna manaibu waziri ambao wanawake wako katika sehemu mbalimbali. Kwa hiyo wito wangu kwa kifupi kwa wanawake ni kwamba wanawake wote Tanzania, ningeomba tufanye kazi kwa bidii sana, kwa sababu historia imekuwa ikionyesha kwamba wanawake ni watu dhaifu, hawawezi kufanya mambo ambayo ni ya msingi, hawawezi kuleta mabadiliko. Kwa hiyo wanawake popote tulipo, katika nafasi yoyote, tufanye kazi kwa bidii ili mchango wetu kwa taifa uweze kuendelea kuonekana na tuendelee kuthaminiwa, na ninaamini kwa kufanya hivyo tunaweza tukapata nafasi nyingi zaidi katika kulitumikia taifa letu. Kwa hiyo ndugu zangu, nawashukuru sana na niwatakia wanawake wote Tanzania na dunia nzima heri ya siku ya wanawake duniani. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister. I would like now to take this opportunity to welcome our keynote speaker, but allow me to take a minute or few seconds to introduce our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker, Honorable Aisha Ba Diallo, is a former chair of the Forum of African Women Educationalists, or FAWE, and former Minister of Education in Guinea-Conakry. Honorable Aisha is a champion of girls and women's education in Guinea. She's a founding member and former chair, as I have said, of FAWE. She's done an outstanding reforms towards improving education for girls in Guinea when she was a Minister of Education between 1989 and 1996. After exemplary service as Minister in Guinea, Honorable Aisha was appointed by UNESCO to serve as a consultant for girls' education in Africa, as Chair Network for Women Education in Africa, and as a special advisor to the Director General of UNESCO. She's also a member of the Mo Ibrahim Foundation Prize. She's chair of Trans-Africa. She's the treasurer of Aid and Action International and member of the advisory board of Islamic Development Bank. Honorable Aisha Diallo is also a recipient of many honors and awards. It's now my singular honor and pleasure to present to you Honorable Madam Aisha Diallo to deliver her keynote address titled Development and Women, What Can Africa Do Differently by 2030. Madam Aisha, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président de séance.
Thank you, Chair.
Mesdames et Messieurs, Jambo.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jambo.
Excellence, Madame la Ministre.
Excellency, Madam Minister.
Excellence, Monsieur l'Ambassadeur de France.
Excellency, Mr. Ambassador of France in Tanzania.